Oh, I have a lot to say about this episode, so we're just going to dive right into Season 1 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Episode 4, I Plunge to My Death, because it's exciting. So, again, of course, we're going into non-spoilers first, for those who haven't seen the episode yet and just want to get a read on it, then spoilers, that I don't know why I did it as 3, then spoilers, and then book-related spoilers. So, let's just get through the non-spoiler section here. And like I was saying last week, we are continuing to see a huge improvement in the episodes. Character relationships are stronger than ever in this one. Specifically between Annabeth and Percy, there's a huge growth between them in this episode, which I really appreciated. It was like new to the story in general. It doesn't come from the books, although some elements do. And I think it just builds on the already building dynamic between them in the previous episode and just makes it so much stronger. They are kind of bonding as characters and getting to understand each other's, reasons for doing things, specifically in regards to Annabeth. This is very much a Annabeth-centric episode, which, considering we've not had too much about her previously, I really appreciated this. And yeah, solid Annabeth-related episode, but also solid Percabeth related episode because of the building relationship. We also get some more elements in regards to Grover. We get some more of his character and his story as well, which I really liked. It's just being fed through a little bit. It's not really fully being focused on, but we're seeing kind of the way he wants to go with his life a little bit in this episode. And his environmental side really came out in this, which I really appreciated too. The monster battle in this was also really good. Honestly, probably one of the better monster fights. I still think the Minotaur one may be better, but only because they kind of were able to do a little bit more with the Minotaur one because it was at night, so the CGI wasn't too much of a problem. But I do think this was one of the longer fights. I do think it had room for improvement, and honestly I think the reason why the fight wasn't as extended or as long lasting, that's the same thing as extended, isn't as consistent as a fight, is mainly due to the fact that the CG probably wasn't, they couldn't really do much with the CG, I'm assuming, because it was during the day. But that's just an assumption on my part. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say except for my standout for the characters. So Leah is Annabeth, obviously continuously being a standout for when she's in it, with this being an Annabeth-centric-ish episode. But the actress for Echidna, I'm sorry I've forgotten your name, was a huge standout in this episode. Oh, she played her role so well. She is terrifying, she is manipulative, she's just an all-round really interesting character, and I really appreciated what the actress brought to the role in this. But I don't really have anything else to say for, the non-spoiler section. It was a strong episode, directed well, shot well, character chemistry is on point. You can really see how the actors themselves clearly got closer during filming, and they kind of were able to gel with each other a lot more on screen. And really good episode. Not the most plot-heavy episode, I will admit, which I think, considering this is the 4th episode, we're quite literally halfway through, is a little bit of a problem, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in the spoiler section, which I will be going into now, because as per, I have my notes. So let's get into the spoiler section. So, super strong adventure episode. Really love this, but also love that it is a friendship adventure element, because Annabeth and Percy specifically are growing so much closer. Like, we open beyond the dream sequence that we get at the start, which I think honestly kind of cut into the runtime and didn't need to be there that much. I think it took away from the more important elements of the episode, which was the opening scene of young Percy and Sally at a pool and Percy being afraid of swimming, which then led into a dream sequence with the voice. Good. Opening scene, a little bit too long, and definitely took away from, what could have been used more wisely for the actual plot related elements. But yeah, other than that, we go into a conversation between Annabeth and Percy on the train, and we get Annabeth's backstory. We learn that, Athena's not Annabeth, Athena's children are born from her mind with a mortal that she connects with, and then the child is given to that mortal. And her dad really cared about her. He treated her like she was a gift until he married a mortal woman and had kids with her. And then she wasn't made to feel like a gift anymore. She was made to feel like a burden, which is why she left. I will talk about this in the book's spoiler section, but that was a really interesting change to that story. We also have a discussion in regards to Talia, where Percy is asking about her and, kind of not really knowing his place in these sort of things, or knowing what the gods are doing, and just kind of being very, judgmental of the gods, which justifiably the gods kind of suck. And Annabeth responding to, well, no, it's not the gods who suck, everyone sucks, which is where she tells a story about her past, because yeah, she's right, the gods do suck, but you expect them to suck. Everyone else sucking hurts more. And I thought that was just a really interesting moment of, you can't expect anything of the gods, but when you expect something of a mortal, you kind of would hope them to be better, but it doesn't always work out that way. I don't know, I find that a really interesting conversation between them, especially the setup for Annabeth's story, but also the fact that the gods, and also just kind of setting the fact that the gods really do just suck. Like, that is the main feed throughout the whole series, is that the gods do suck. And, they're terrible. So it's interesting to have that conversation coming up from Percy, but then also being agreed with by Annabeth in a way. She still really cares about her mum, but because she expects this sort of stuff from her mum, she doesn't expect it from her mortal family. Oh no, it was kind of sad at the same time, and it was a nice moment between them. And they actually have another one later on to do with the parent situation again, where they're at the St. Louis Arch, and Annabeth has this geeky, adorable, maths moment talking about all of it. But then her and Percy have another bonding moment where, she really believes in her mum, and, he doesn't believe in his dad. And she's just so desperate to get a sign from her mum and have her mum reach out to her, only to, in the end, have her mum be the reason why Echidna and the Chimera get to them, which I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but this whole episode about Annabeth and Percy, specifically about Annabeth, kind of seeing the different side to the gods, kind of knowing this side was there, but then being betrayed, it hurt, but it was clear that it needed to happen for her to progress throughout her own arc. But yes, Echidna and the Chimera are the monster of the episode, and they are the best monster of the episode, because Echidna, absolutely fascinating character. Her whole speech that she gives on the train to the kids of, I am the mother of monsters, and basically then saying that to monsters, demigods are the monsters. They're the ones who cause chaos and do them harm and things like that. And it just got me thinking, because even in the books, monsters don't really hurt mortals. They only go after demigods, because demigods also go after monsters. It's a really vicious cycle. I just found it really interesting, and I'm intrigued to see whether or not they're going to explore that in future as well. But she could also then just be saying it to be like, ha ha ha, are you really fighting monsters? Oh, are you the monster? It felt like a bit of a mind trick as well, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, the actress is absolutely phenomenal. The way she talks to the Chimera and the way she talks to the children, she's trying to make them so much more afraid, to make the hunt for her child so much more fun. And it just, it was creepy. She's the best villain so far. And I like that we have an episode dedicated to her. I liked Medusa in the previous one, but obviously she's not really a monster. She's kind of like a bit of both. Whereas in this one, Echidna is just a straight up evil. She's deliberately going after these kids, not because of the lightning bolt, but because she wants to kill them. Love it. Love when characters just want to kill people, which sounds bad, but they don't need a reason. They just want to do it because that's what they do. I just really enjoyed it. To characters again though, because I've also skipped over this bit, we do get a bit more of Grover's story in that we learn about searchers, which are satyrs who are going in search of the god of the wild, Pan, who centuries ago disappeared, and so the wild has kind of been fading because of human action. And it's all satyrs' dreams to become searchers to try and find him, but none have ever done so. And Uncle Ferdinand for Grover was also someone who was trying to find Pan and didn't get very far. It's not said, but it's kind of implied by what Annabeth says of, it's always a brave satyr's dream to do this, and Grover then staring out into the distance, and kind of the rest of his attitude with the episode talking about nature and his frustrations about what humans are doing to nature kind of leaves this impression that maybe he wants to be a searcher too. And I just really like that we're getting these small little moments for Grover as well, because, give Grover the attention he deserves. He's not given much in the books. Give him direction. Give him an arc. I love it. And even him and Annabeth having a little bit of a spat as well, because, he's upset about the arch because there's shrines of animals and all that sort of stuff. And Annabeth responding with, well, no, this isn't what it was actually meant to be, instead of kind of being like, sympathetic about it all. She's very reactive to things that seem negative about her mum, because her mum is currently the only one who, in a sense, hasn't fully let her down based on her story, which then makes the situation later at the Arch, which is meant to be a sanctuary for demigods where monsters are not allowed to be let in, even more painful, because Echidna and the Chimera are let in because Athena is punishing Annabeth for Medusa's head because she let Percy send the head and embarrassed Athena. And it was just such an interesting moment of just seeing the pure devastation on Annabeth's face of realising, oh, my mum's punishing me. Oh, my mum doesn't actually care. And it's just a really painful moment, especially when Percy is clearly recognising this and is asking her, and he's hurt for her, which makes the moment where she is about to sacrifice herself, because clearly she's kind of like in the sense of like, I need to do something to show my mum that I'm sorry. Maybe sacrificing my life to save my friends so they can go and do the quest will be enough. At least that's the vibes that I got from her. She was kind of like, I need to do something brave and heroic. That'll probably get me killed, but maybe it'll make my mum forgive me. And Percy, being Percy, who is also currently dying because he got stung by, that's a conversation later, stops her from doing that, swaps places, locks them out, and fights the Chimera, and then falls out of the arch, and solving the issue in the book is pulled into the water by a huge wave that comes up to catch him. We then meet a nymph underwater who tells him that he can breathe, and he takes a breath underwater. And that's how the episode ends. It's a really short episode, which is kind of really frustrating because, like I said, there are some things in this episode that didn't really need to be there, and there's not much plot, I have to say. There's character things, and I love that this is a character-centric episode, but we do still need plot. There was like a few references throughout of plot-related things, of them discussing the prophecy, them trying to figure out like, what do we do when we get to Los Angeles? And they don't discuss it again because they get distracted by other things. And I don't know, I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was a really strong episode overall, and probably one of the best ones so far. Again, everything is improving episode upon episode. But the lack of plot is kind of a problem to me, because we don't know what's going to happen next. All we know is they're going to Los Angeles. But we don't know where in Los Angeles. They don't know where in Los Angeles either. I'm going to move into book-related spoilers, because this leads into my problems for where the lack of plot in this one. Because in the books, in the water after falling off the St. Louis Arch, Percy is given these pearls by a nymph who says that these will help get you out of the underworld afterwards. And I'm kind of like, I don't get why that wasn't in this episode. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to open the next one with that, but you didn't need what happened in the opening sequence. You didn't need Percy's fear of swimming. It felt like a really random addition to me that just cut into the runtime. That could have been used to have a plot-related thing so we know where we're going next for the next episode. Because how this episode ends, we don't know where they're going next except Los Angeles. That's it. That's all we know that's happening. Which is not great. We also don't know the timeline currently. We don't know how long they've got left to get there. We don't know where they're going. They don't know where they're going. I don't know, it was a weak ending for me. And I think if they'd removed some of the runtime at the start to give to the nymph telling him about it, and then the episodes end with him getting to the top of the water and bursting out, taking a huge gasp of air. Because even though he knows he can breathe underwater now, it's still kind of freaky. I don't know, there was a way to make the ending a little bit more impactful for me, I think. But it could just be a me thing. This could just be me nitpicking. But I won't say one is a nitpick. I think this one is very, very valid. So at the start of the episode, we are getting that dream sequence with the voice. For those who've read the books, you know that is Kronos. Kronos is talking, not to Percy, though sometimes he does in the dreams, but we're meant to be getting hints of the end game through these dream sequences of Kronos talking. We have gotten nothing from this except that there is a voice who is talking to Percy, calling him a forbidden, and there's a few hints of just like in this one he says she is coming. But there's no other hint. The worst bit about it for me, I think, and I think it's the thing that's the most frustrating, is that we're also meant to be getting hints that there is a betrayer. Because in the books, Luke is also talking to Kronos. We just don't recognise his voice or recognise Kronos' one. I don't know, it feels like a missed opportunity, because now what happens at the end, or in the next couple of episodes at least, it's going to feel completely out of the blue. They haven't built it up enough. Because those dream sequences, there is nothing to them. There's complete lack of substance there for me. And I don't know, it's just really frustrating. Because they could have done something with it, and they're just not. I don't know why. But that's my main critique for kind of the season as a whole currently. But I don't know, it's just standing out a lot. Also, I'm very confused as to why the Chimera can now poison people. Because I'm pretty sure in my mythology the Chimera doesn't have stingers. I think it may be able to poison someone, but it's got like a snake head as a tail. So the snake head could have poisoned someone. But I'm very confused as to why it had stingers, because that's more manticore. It just felt like they needed to weaken Percy. I don't really know why they had to weaken Percy, if I'm honest. It was a bit odd. The Chimera is still interesting. The fight was super anticlimactic though, because it was done so quickly and finished. He swipes at the animal twice and then he falls through a hole. The fights are just really anticlimactic, and in this case I think it's because CG in daylight isn't great. I don't really know, because that also feels like a weak excuse. But I'd hope the fight scene would have been longer. It's definitely felt longer than the other fight scenes, but it still didn't feel as good as the other fight scene. Well, none of the fight scenes have really felt that good, except maybe the Minotaur one. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. To the Annabeth thing. So in the books, Frederick Chase never treated Annabeth as a gift. He was kind of resentful of the fact that he was given a child from the start. So to see that he treated her as a gift until he had a mortal wife is an interesting change, and I don't know if I like it so far. We'll see how it progresses, because it could just be that Annabeth read it that way and that wasn't actually true. But I don't like that it's the mortal wife who is the problem, because that feels very evil stepmother. But that could also be the intention, is that Annabeth read it that way because she doesn't want to see her dad as a bad person. So I'm intrigued to see where that will go. But overall, I do think this was a really strong episode. The character relationships are developing so well. I love that it was more Annabeth-centric. I love that we're seeing more development of Annabeth and Percy's relationship, especially considering what we saw for the preview. Theirs is going to be another centric episode next week. The only issues I have is not really much plot in this, and I think that's a problem considering this is literally halfway through. We've got 4 episodes left and the plot isn't progressing in this one, which I think is not great. But what do you guys think? Oh, actually, no, hold on. Rating. I would give this episode probably about 4.3, maybe a 4.5. I think it's probably on the same level as the Medusa, maybe a little bit higher. We'll go 4.6 actually out of 5, just because I think it's stronger. I think it's just weaker in terms of plot. But what do you guys think? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Let me know, did you enjoy this episode? Do you agree with my critiques about it? Again, remember about spoilers, try not to spoil too many things in future for people, or if you do, just like put lots of paragraph spaces or something like that so people don't see it straight away. And yeah, let me know your thoughts, and I appreciate you all tuning in. I have to run off and go get a tattoo now. So thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, check out my Patreon, buy my books, and I'll see you all next time.